Welcome class to Project 3 Web Applications. This is the third video for Project 3 and it's going to cover the section Making Pages, the Learning Log home page. Pages 394 through 398. So we're going to be looking at creating a Django web page in 3 stages. We're going to define URLs, we're going to write views, and we're going to write templates. So we're going to first define patterns for our URLs, then we're going to map each URL to a particular view, okay? And then we're going to be creating a template. So those are the 3 things that we're going to do in this particular section. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to want to do is go to page 395. Okay, and in the main learning log folder, I'm going to go ahead and close all these files. In the main learning log folder, okay, find the file URLs. Okay, and in URLs, you are going to set up what you see in the middle of page 395. Okay, so to save video time, I've already typed this. Okay, and then you want to make sure that you do this portion right here. So a little comment about code that you see in the book. When you see gray code, that's code that already exists. And when you see black code, it's either code that needs to be modified, updated, or it is a brand new line. Okay, in this case, we're just adding the comma include, and then here we're adding the path in here. Okay, be careful when you're typing in this learning log virtual environment or this Django site, that you're really paying attention to when is there an S used and when is there not an S used. And it goes beyond just learning log and versus learning logs. When we get into the next section, you're going to see topic versus topics. Okay, so be careful there. Make sure that you're ending these lines in a comma. Okay, and so those are just a couple of things that I've learned along the way. Okay, then you're going to, in the bottom of the page says, I'm going to go ahead and close this out. We are going to, we use the default URLs in the learning log folder. Now we're going to make a second URLs file in the learning logs folder. So I'm going to collapse this. I'm going to go into learning logs now. And here is my second URLs.py file within learning logs. Okay. And there you'll see this code here. Okay, so what does this code actually mean? Okay, so to make it clear which URLs file we're in, we put a doc string at the top telling us that we're inside of a learning logs. Then we have some import statements. We're going to import the path module, and we're also importing views. The period notes that we are in the same directory, so we are importing views from our learning logs directory. So views right here. Okay. Okay. The next one is app name. App name helps Django distinguish this URLs file from files of the same name and other apps within the project. The variable URL patterns is a list of individual pages that can be requested from the learning logs app. The actual URL pattern is a call to the path function, okay, which takes 3 arguments. The first argument is string that helps Django route the current requested property. Since we are using localhost, we're using the empty string. Okay, the second argument is in path, specifies which function to call in views. So we're going to call the index function, which we'll define here in a little bit. Okay, and then the third argument provides the name index for this URL pattern so we can refer to it in other code sections. Okay, so this is URLs within learning logs. Okay, now let's go ahead and look at views. Okay, and views, here's that function index that we just referenced in our path right here. Okay, and so here is the code that you're going to need for views. Okay, so when a URL request matches the pattern we just defined, Django looks for a function called index in the views file. And Django passes that request object to this view function. Okay, so it's passing it through request. Okay, the render function Okay, passes 2 arguments, the original request object, so both of these match. Okay, and a template that it can use to build the page. So let's write this template next. Okay, so in the section writing a template, you're going to want to create a learning logs folder within the templates folder within learning logs. So it's going to look like this. Learning logs, you're going to create a templates folder, and if you're in Sublime, you can just right click on learning logs and do new folder. Okay, within templates, okay, you're going to create another folder called learning logs. Okay, and within that, you're going to type the code that you see on the middle of page 397, and it is the index.html file. Okay, so this pattern right here, learning logs, is referring to this directory here and index, okay, that is stored in that directory. So here is the index file. Okay, once you're done with that, in order to see it, you're going to have to open up a terminal. Okay, get into your learning logs folder. What did I type? Oh, it's learning log. Okay, and then Python. Actually, no, we got to activate the learning environment first. So env scripts / activate. Oh, I typed it wrong. env, it's what came out of my mouth, but not on my fingers. Okay, so now we have our learning environment, okay, learning logs environment activated, and then it's Python manage.py run server. Okay, so whenever we want to see what's going on in localhost, okay, we want to run server and get that running. Okay, then we'll come over to our browser and type in localhost. I'm going to redo this. Okay, if you have any errors, sometimes you can see the errors, and you will see the errors in this page here, but sometimes they're harder to read. If you have errors, you can come back to the terminal and you just want to look for the file names, okay, that you have been working with. Okay, so in this case, we're going to be working with URLs, views, and index. Okay, and make sure that, and just kind of go back and review the code and see if you can go ahead and figure out those errors. Okay, if you can't figure them out, you're going to zip your files to me and send them to me, and I will try to debug from there. Thank you for your time.